Yeah, it's definitely been the most frustrating year of my career. I think not only with so many expectations to start, but just physically not being able to play as much as I'd like, or to be able to have the impact that I plan on having this year. So very frustrating.
And with that in mind, some people are talking about how much this will make you work even harder this offseason,
Yeah.
waiting for the upcoming.
Yeah, I mean, I always work hard, so I'm not concerned about that. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of luck. I didn't have it this year, but I'm definitely gonna prepare as better than I ever have to try to make this year a distant memory, and next year a phenomenal experience.
How much time do you take off to rest up?
I'm not going to take any time off. I'm going to get rehabbing right away and try to get right. And I don't take a lot of time off.
How much concern is there about being able to fully heal and full recovery?
I don't have any concern, and I haven't gotten wind from anyone on the medical staff that there's any concern for, long-term issues or for next season to be, in jeopardy. But, I still got a little bit of work to do to get right in the next month or so and to have a good summer.
It's a nerve thing, just a different aspect.
It is. That is the main issue right now, I think, and it's something that they seem to think will just settle down with a little bit of rest.
Mentally, how tough was this year for
you? Obviously, it was tough. We had our sights set on something much bigger than this, so to never really find our stride or to get going, in many ways it feels like we never even got started. So that was frustrating. That was mentally difficult. But at the same time, I think I've played this my 17th year. I've gone through different things in my career, so you're used to taking on the challenge. And so I'm proud of my teammates. Everyone kept battling, kept fighting. We played really good basketball the last few months. But obviously not good enough in the big picture.
Do you have a sense of how long it will take for you this offseason to get to where you need to be as far as your fitness?
I don't know, but I'm hoping in the next month I'll be 100%.
Steve, do you think this mix of personnel and coaching added in with good health next year could be accomplish what you wanted to do this year?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable the roster's going to change in some capacity. It just does every year in the NBA. But I think the core pieces, obviously, with this season under our belt, the disappointment of this season as well, I think it could come back and form something special. So, a lot to play for, a lot to work for. And as we saw this year, it's not a perfect fit, but that doesn't mean that we don't have great pieces, and we have terrific players that can find a way to make this work. So I think, it's all to play for us. It's all to be, inspired by the opportunity and optimistic.
Steve, early in the season, there was a number of times when there was kind of on-court arguments with Dwight, and a teammate was one with you in Miami. Could you describe the progression of his relationship over the season? You didn't see it at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think, of course, you're going to see the lows are going to be, highlighted for sure. But, to me, generally, it was really good. And, I think, Dwight and myself formed a good relationship this year, but I think Dwight was a good presence throughout the year. And I think, we had our moments. I think we faced a lot of difficulty. We faced a lot of, tough times this year, and sometimes it boiled over, but I think that's natural. I think that's what you want from a team. So, I even hesitate to maybe give that the wrong type of life, to justify that was a negative thing. And in the big picture, I think that relationships were formed, relationships were kept and developed that were really, really positive. I think that's the only reason we didn't, sputter out of control and find ourselves out of the playoffs.
Do you have any hopeful hints from him or any hopeful feelings about him?
I'm very hopeful that Dwight will be back. I think I think this is the place for him. He's in the prime of his career. He's got his best years ahead of him. He's, can play for one of the greatest franchises in sports in an amazing city. So I mean, this has got to be the place for him. You know, I'm hopeful that he sees it that way, and hopefully, you know, as teammates, we, you know, can be here to support him through this and find him back here with us July 1st.
Meta said that the team might have put a little bit too much responsibility on Dwight Howard this year. Do you feel that same way, that too much responsibility was there and that Kobe and Powell's voice should have been more present?
I don't think so.
You've obviously, you know, you have as deep a relationship with Mike as anybody in the building. From your experience, how is he the same or different guy than what you saw in Phoenix, you know, to this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the same guy. I think, you know, it's a much different team, you know, a lot different personnel. I think we, you know, different personalities, you know, trying to come in after we were already underway and you know, conform to the personnel, you know, was a challenge. I think it in some ways changed him, but, you know, he's the same guy. And, you know, I think he probably learned a lot this year, and I know we learned a lot. And I think the big challenge, regardless of who was the coach, was how we could make this work, especially not just because of the pieces, but also just because it was so new to everybody.
In Phoenix, he had you to kind of express this as you were the star of that team and all that. Here is you and a lot of other dominant stars and egos and guys who play in different styles. How hard do you think it is for him just to adapt to the sort of the personnel management aspect of that?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. You know, we have a lot of guys who have had great careers, a lot of success, and have done it kind of in their way. And so to try to come together, you know, you can't play in 4 or 5 different ways. You have to find a way to conform to play, you know, with a certain style or identity, or maybe, you know, combination of 2 identities. So I think that was real difficult for everybody, for the players primarily, but also for the coach.
How do you, Mike, handle the challenge?
I thought he handled it well. I mean, I think, you know, I mean, we can make a long list of what he faced this year. You know, coming in late, you know, just craziest injury season I've ever seen. You know, on top of that, just the personalities, you know, guys playing when they're not themselves, not 100%. You know, I think it's really hard. I mean, it's really even hard to find an identity when, you know, guys aren't necessarily what they're going to be in a week, or they're out of the lineup in a week. So, you know, I think we all wanted more. We all would give ourselves, you know, a poor grade, but I thought he handled it, you know, well. He competed, he worked every day, he was passionate about it, and we just, you know, I mean, from the, I guess February, March, April, we played really good basketball.
Steve, you already tweet out your support with Jason Howard. What do you think that can do for the league and the society at large?
I think it's great that Jason's, you know, strong enough to come out. I think he's, you know, going to make a huge impact on a lot of people. I think most importantly, a lot of young people, not only to open their minds, but to also feel free to come out themselves. And, you know, I couldn't think of something that would be, you know, so, you know, how difficult that would be for somebody to hold something like that in for so long, but also if you're a young person and all the confusion that comes with that as well. So I think it's fantastic that, you know, he's taking a, you know, such a positive and influential role as a spokesperson in many respects, regardless of whether he, you know, totally wants to do that or not. I mean, by doing so, he's, I think, you know, really set a great message for society and for our culture.
I mean, the reaction from the league, players, executives, has been nothing but positive. I mean, what do you think as far as how the league's
Yeah, I mean,
receptive and open?
You know, I've thought for a while now that it's not going to be a big issue. And, of course, I think the people, the detractors aren't going to have as big a voice, you know, right now because, you know, they're not going to want to sound like the one jerk. But so I don't think it's fair for Jason to just sit here and say, oh, this will be a walk in the park. He's, you know, he's everybody's new best friend. But at the same time, you know, this is a really, really important issue. This is a really important time that somebody is finally, you know, taken a leadership role in this respect. And, you know, it'd be great if he can continue to play.
You mentioned 17th year in the league. How different do you think it would have been if this had happened?
Yeah,
Came in?
it's tough to say. I mean, I think it would have been different for sure. But it's tough to say how different. But I think there's no question that, you know, we are more aware, we are more tolerant, and I think people are more accustomed to people's differences and diversity. So I think hopefully every year we become a little bit more tolerant.
Steve, despite all the unknowns in this offseason, what do you see as most important for you and for Mike, just kind of thinking about next season, physically, system, all those kind of things?
I mean, I think for me, first and foremost, I just want to get in great shape, get healthy, so that I have nothing holding me back, so that I can prepare for next season. And then as a team, it's going to take some time. I mean, not only do we have to try to find an identity, but we also have to figure out what the roster is going to look like. So, that's something that takes time.
What's your role with the national team going to be like this summer? You got kids like Andrew Wiggins, up to those schools, Bennett,
Yeah.
UNLV. Are you going to have some sort of camp?
We have a few. I mean, I'm the general manager, so we have a few things going on. There's the Junior Worlds, which Andrew Wiggins and a few other standout kids will be at, and then there's the World Championship qualifying for the full national team. So, I oversee the program, but I'll going to be there for a few days here and there. So I'll be in and out throughout the summer.